So the topic for today's class is HBase installation. Yesterday we talked about introduction to HBase, and today we'll be installing HBase on our Ubuntu and all the concepts what we explored yesterday. Column family, qualifier, key value pair, all these things we will be exploring today in much more detail. So let's start the class with the agenda. The agenda for this class is Hadoop HBase compatibility, download hbase tar.gz file, untar the hbase tar.gz file, installation modes, hbase services, modify hbase-env.sh file, modify hbase-site.xml file, start Hadoop, check Hadoop services and safe mode status, start HBase, verify Hadoop and HBase services, and stop HBase. So this is the agenda, and we'll be starting with the first one, Hadoop and HBase compatibility. Every version of HBase is not compatible with every version of Hadoop. That's very important thing. And as being an emerging technology, every few weeks newer version of Hadoop and newer version of HBase are coming in the market. That means while installing HBase, we need to make sure that that version will be compatible with your Hadoop or not. This is a Hadoop HBase compatibility matrix. You can see the left upper corner. S stand for supported, X not supported, and NT not tested. So we should go with S only, that is supported, which HBase version is compatible with Hadoop. The only that version we should go with. So you can see this complete table. The complete detail is given here. As far as our current version of Hadoop is concerned, that is Hadoop 1.2.1. So the compatible version of HBase with Hadoop 1.2.1 that I will provide, so that you don't have to struggle for the required software. So the next slide is download hbase-star.gz file. You can see the link. Click here to download HBase, or you can click on this Google Drive link as well. So once you will receive this PDF, either you can click here on this link or click here on this Google Drive icon. It will be taking you to my Google Drive, and in my Google Drive I have stored the required software, so that you don't have to search for it here and there. So within a few minutes, very quickly, without any confusion, you will be able to download the required version of HBase. Once you are done with downloading, it's time to extract the content of tar file. Just like we did that for Hadoop 1 and Hadoop 2. So how to extract the content of a tar file? I think you are aware about that, but still for your quick reference, this is a screenshot. hbase-0.94.9.tar.gz. This is the file which is compatible with Hadoop 1.2.1. So this file you can download from my Google Drive link given on the previous slide. To extract the content of tar file, you will double click on the tar file. It will display what is there inside the tar. You can see that hbase-0.94.9. There's a folder inside your tar file. Then you will click on extract, so that we can extract the compressed content of the tar file. Once you will click on extract, one more window will come. The destination path, where exactly you want to extract it. Although there is no hard and fast rule, you can extract it inside your home directory, on your desktop, or any other location. And you also know, on my system there is a directory, local cluster home. which contains all the software, Hadoop 1, Hadoop 2, HBase, Hive, Pig. In my case, I am selecting local cluster home, as you can see in this screenshot, and finally you will be clicking on extract. Within few seconds, the content of a tar file will be extracted at the specified location. So let's move to the next slide. The next is installation modes. What are the different modes in which HBase can be installed? The first mode is standalone mode. It does not use Hadoop for storage. Even yesterday we talked about this mode. I was telling you that in case Hadoop is not installed on the system, or in case the user is not from Hadoop background, he or she does not have any idea about Hadoop. In that case, you can install HBase in standalone mode. In that case, a local path, your Ubuntu file system, any directory can be used for storing your HBase tables data, because you are not using Hadoop for storage. That standalone mode is rarely used. The other famous modes are pseudo distributed. Pseudo distributed in the sense that it's distributed but not really distributed. That means HBase is dependent upon single node Hadoop cluster for storing its tables data. So yes, we are dependent upon Hadoop. We are storing our tables data on HDFS, that's true, but the Hadoop is not installed on multiple systems. So we are not getting the real flavor of distribution. And finally, fully distributed mode. The mode in which your HBase is dependent upon Hadoop, and that Hadoop is installed on multiple nodes, multi-node Hadoop cluster. Here you will be getting the full flavor of distribution. So on a higher level, I can say that there are two modes. One is standalone, which does not use Hadoop for storage. Another one is distributed, whether that is single node cluster or multi-node cluster, but ultimately we will be dependent upon Hadoop to store our tables data. So these are the different modes of installation. In upcoming slides, we'll talk about the required changes, and then I will explain separately what are the required changes for standalone mode and what are the required changes for distributed mode. The configuration for pseudo distributed or fully distributed, there is no difference. So let's move to the next slide. Next is HBase services. If you remember, when we installed Hadoop, we were doing JPS in Hadoop 1 as well as in Hadoop 2, and few services were running. Similarly, when we will be installing HBase, few services will be running on our system, and let's try to understand that. When you are installing HBase in standalone mode, only one service will run, that is hmaster. As the name indicates, hmaster is master for HBase. So master service of HBase, which controls all HBase activities. Just like in Hadoop, different slave services are running, and those are interacting with the name node. So name node is a master service for Hadoop. Similarly, hmaster is the master service for HBase. So in standalone mode, only one service will be running, but in case you are going with the distributed mode, in that case, three services will be running. One is hmaster, that is the master service of HBase, which controls all HBase activities. We'll have hregion server. Hregion server is equivalent to data node. Just like data node service is taking care of data in Hadoop, similarly hregion server will be taking care of your data, your tables in HBase. So it's a slave counterpart of HBase master. The third one is hquorum peer. and other famous name is Zookeeper. So hcorompere or Zookeeper, it's a coordination service between Hadoop and HBase. When two technologies are interacting with each other, we need a coordinator who can pass the messages from Hadoop to HBase and from HBase to Hadoop. So it's a coordination service. So when we will be installing HBase in distributed mode, and when we will do JPS, you will find these three services running. To distinguish HBase services separately, all HBase services name are starting with H, as you can see. H master, H region server, and H quorum peer. Okay, so this is about HBase services. Let's move to the next slide, and we'll be talking about the required changes in the configuration file. The very first configuration file is hbase-env.sh file. You know, all the files which we need to modify are available in the conf directory of the technology. So you can go to the conf directory of HBase. There you will find this file. You can open it, and you will be adding these two lines. If you remember, even in Hadoop 1 and Hadoop 2, we had the similar files, hadoop-env.sh. Similarly, here hbase-env.sh is the file which contains environment settings, environment variable for HBase. Export java underscore home is equal to /usr. Java is the first thing which Hadoop and its related technology needs. So we have already installed Java on our system. Only thing is we need to intimate, we need to tell the path where exactly Java is installed. We have added a similar path in Hadoop 1 and Hadoop 2 configuration file as well. Same thing I am doing here, /usr. That path is properly tested and verified, so you should not face any issue with /usr. After that, export hbase underscore home. Hbase underscore home is the you can say hbase installation directory. So /home /nearest local cluster home hbase -0.94.9. You can change the path according to your system, according to your username. So these two things, Java home and hbase home, we need to specify inside hbase-env.sh. And these two lines are for standalone mode. You can see that. In case you are installing in distributed mode, we need to add one more line. You can have a look at the next slide. You can see the third line, export hbase underscore class path is equal to the conf directory of Hadoop. Because when you are installing in distributed mode, your HBase will be dependent upon Hadoop for storage. HBase will be interacting with Hadoop. So in case it has the access to the conf directory of Hadoop, it can read all the required configuration file, and accordingly it can communicate with Hadoop services. That's why in the HBase class path we are providing the conf directory of Hadoop. So these are the changes for hbase-env.sh file. Now we'll be moving to the next slide. The next slide is hbase-site.xml file. In Hadoop we had core site, HDFS site, MapRed site, and here in HBase we have hbase-site.xml file. So if you will open this file in your system, you will find only starting and ending configuration tag. That means logically this file is blank. What we need to do is we need to add these two property between starting and ending configuration tag. So you can see the first property, hbase.cluster.distributed, and the value you can see that is false. So that means I am not installing HBase in distributed mode. The value is false. So these are two property which we are adding. We are adding for standalone mode. On very first property, I am explicitly saying false. That means we are not installing in distributed mode. Second property, hbase.root.dir, the root directory which will be holding your you can say hbase tables data. You can see the value /home/nearest local cluster home hbase_data. I mean, you can give any path. I am giving any local file system path. The directory will be holding your hbase tables data. So these two properties can be added in hbase-site.xml file for standalone mode. The next is the same file hbase-site.xml but for distributed mode. The very first property, hbase.cluster.distributed, and the value is true. So I'm explicitly marking here that I am installing in distributed mode, and in case we are installing in distributed mode, that means this time my HBase table data will be stored on HDFS, not on local. So you can see the second property, hbase.root.dir, and the value is hdfs:// localhost :9000/hbase. HDFS is running on my localhost port number 9000, then the root location of HDFS starts, and then the directory name is hbase. So this property will be creating hbase directory on the root location of HDFS automatically. You don't need to create it, and ultimately that directory stored on HDFS will be holding your HBase tables data. And we have one more property here, dfs.replication. If you remember, the same property was there in Hadoop in hdfs-site.xml, which was specifying how many versions you want to maintain. Same thing is here. In case you want to go with the replication factor of Hadoop, in that case you don't need to specify this. HBase table will be suppleted and duplicate copies will be maintained as per the Hadoop configuration. But in case you feel that you want to keep it separate, the number of copies maintained by Hadoop for its file and number of copies maintained for HBase table, if you want to keep it different, you can specify this property. You can see the third property, dfs.replication, the value is 2. So these are the changes in hbase-site.xml for standalone and distributed mode. So we are done with the HBase installation. We downloaded HBase star file. We made the required changes. It's time to start our HBase. But before that, in case you are planning to install in standalone mode, then no need to start Hadoop. You can directly start with HBase. But in real-time scenario, the industry standard is we install HBase in standalone mode. And in that case, the very first thing you need to do is start your Hadoop. So you can see that I am starting Hadoop, start all.sh, which will be starting all of my Hadoop services. So let me start, because we have to do HBase practicals as well. So I will go to local cluster home, then I will go to my Hadoop bin directory, and from there I will type start-all.sh. So let it start. So once your Hadoop will be started, we'll be checking whether all Hadoop services are running fine or not. Along with that, we will do one more thing. We will check safe mode status. You know safe mode status? when your name node is in safe mode in the beginning, it's not ready for your service because it will take some time to collect the required information. Once it's ready for your service, then only you should start your HBase. So let me check the safe mode status, and you can see that current status is on. As of now, name node is doing some internal activities. It's collecting the required metadata. Once your name node will be out of safe mode, after that it's safe to start your HBase. So we can wait for a few seconds. After that we'll check the safe mode status again, and then we will proceed accordingly. You can see that I have checked the safe mode status once again, and this time safe mode is off. That's good. That means name node has collected all the required information and it's ready for your service. So now what we will do is we will be going to bin directory of HBase. So from here I will move. I will go to bin directory of HBase, and from here I will type start hbase.sh. It will be starting your HBase services. Since we are installing in distributed mode, so 3 services for HBase will be starting. You can see this: starting zookeeper, starting master, and starting region server. I can do JPS to check whether all Hadoop services and HBase services are running or not. You can see the first one, hmaster, that is the master service for HBase. Data node is running, that's a Hadoop service, and we know very well about that. Job tracker is running, task tracker is running, H region server, the slave service of HBase, and H quorum peer, that is the coordination service, also known as zookeeper, and name node and secondary name node. So all Hadoop services are running and all HBase services are running. If you can see all HBase services are running, that simply means that you have successfully installed HBase on your system. Okay, I am coming back to PDF. For your convenience, all the steps are pasted here as a screenshot. You can see this. Check Hadoop services and safe mode status. After that, from bin directory of HBase, you will be starting the HBase. By typing JPS, you can verify the services, and finally stop HBase. Once you are done with your practicals, it's time to stop it. So from bin directory of HBase, you can type stop-hbase.sh. It will be stopping only your HBase services. In case you want to do any practicals on Hadoop, you can do that. Otherwise, in case you are planning to shut down your system, you should stop your Hadoop as well. So you can go to the bin directory of Hadoop, and from there you can type stop all.sh to stop Hadoop services as well. So with this slide, we are done with HBase installation.